the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening, I'm Marcellus Lee in with your VON Major News package for today, Monday, the 27th of August, 2018. In our lead stories nationally, the Federal Integrity Commission appointed on Monday, September 3rd, 2018, a National Day of Prayer and Fasting here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela signed a gas agreement. Internationally, the UN says Myanmar's military leaders must face Rohingya genocide charges. And in sports, Genoa fans silent for first 45 minutes of home match as a tribute to Italy collapse bridge victims. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, VON.
Welcome back, and now for the news in detail. The Federal Integrity Commission was officially commissioned this morning. Governor General Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton handed over the instruments of appointment to the members during a ceremony at Government House in Basseterre. The members of the commission are the chairman, Mr. Damian Kelsick, who was appointed by the Governor General in his own deliberate judgment as prescribed by the Act; Mr. Franklin Maitland, member, who was appointed on the recommendation of the Prime Minister; and Mrs. Carol Boddy, who was appointed on the recommendation of the Leader of the Opposition.
It is a principled position. They will all be required to subscribe to oaths before they embark upon their full duties, the oaths of secrecy, because they will be coming into possession of information, the oaths of office, so that it facilitates the functioning of the respective offices. I expect everybody to work together. This is not a political affair, notwithstanding the fact that the Act prescribes nominations by certain office holders, but it is intended to be a national entity and undertaking.
That's Governor General Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton. According to the Governor General, the members of the Commission should have the support and confidence of the public.
I think that our people would have much confidence in terms of saying to the members of the Commission, who are all professionals. Mr. Kelsick, for example, is an attorney at law of some 27 years standing. Mr. Maitland, a certified accountant, and Mrs. Boddy, also a certified public accountant. So all of these persons bring to these positions significant qualifications, and we repose tremendous confidence in them to be able to discharge their function.
That's Governor General S.W. Tapley Seaton. The Integrity in Public Life legislation was passed in the National Assembly on September 9, 2013. And in related news, Nevis's Integrity Commission was named on June 25, 2018. The members are Chairman Mr. Ricardo Keynes, who was appointed by the Governor General in her own deliberate judgment; member Mr. Sidney Newton, who was appointed on the recommendation of the Premier; and member Mr. Alfred Tyrrell, who was appointed on the recommendation of the member of the opposition. Since the announcement, opposition member, the Honorable Joseph Parry, has objected to the appointment of both Mr. Sidney Newton and Mr. Ricardo Keynes. Earlier this month, Mr. Parry wrote to the acting Deputy Governor General requesting that the appointments of Mr. Newton and Mr. Keynes be revoked due to the conflict of interest. No official statement has yet been issued by the Office of the Acting Deputy Governor General on the matter. The Nevis Integrity in Public Life Bill, which was tabled by the Honorable Vance Amory, the former Premier of Nevis, was unanimously passed in the Nevis Island Assembly in September 2013. Monday, September 3rd, 2018 has been earmarked for National Day of Prayer and Fasting. This is one of the activities planned to mark St. Kitts and Nevis's 35th anniversary of independence. Pastors and church leaders are encouraged to mobilize the congregations to observe the practice by the leadership of the Ministry of Ecclesiastical Affairs during a meeting held last week. Permanent Secretary Ron Dublin Collins said that the ministry will assist in promoting any events planned by the churches and called on all citizens and residents to mark the occasion. Senior Minister and Minister of Ecclesiastical Affairs, the Honorable Vance Amory, said that strengthening relations with the church is a priority for the government as it continues to build partnerships with stakeholder groups and organizations across society. He added that prayer and fasting are scriptural and should not only be encouraged during times of crisis. Independence Day is celebrated annually on September the 19th. Fit Wellness Center and Fit Games has partnered with the Ministries of Health here on Nevis and on St. Kitts and other stakeholders to bring awareness to non-communicable diseases, NCDs, affecting the communities here in the Federation. It seeks to address health issues that lead to NCD deaths and ways of combating unhealthy habits. Here is founder and manager of the Fit Wellness Center, Mr. David Walwyn.
We just want to do a few things that's going to impact and at least combat the rise of these non-communicable diseases, because it affects us all. And you can't close your eyes to it, no matter who you are, whether you're an employee have employees that are out sick because of some illness, or whether it's a family member or a friend. You can't be blind to it. It affects us all. And so we have to make a commitment to do something about it.
That's Mr. David Walwyn. The initiative is part of activities for Caribbean Wellness Week, which will be observed from Saturday, 8th September 2018. According to Mr. Walwyn, one of the activities that will be part of this initiative is a weight loss campaign.
One of the things that we are going to be laying out at this event as well is how everyone can get involved in making this NCD prevention plan sustainable. And so one of the things that we want to lay out at the event is a national weight loss campaign. And everyone who signs up for this campaign, you have to be in it to win it, will win a prize. And so anyone who contributes the most weight to this campaign. So your weight loss is going to get you some money. So every pound gets you some money. And so those of you who contribute the most weight to this campaign win a big cash prize.
That's founder and manager of the Fit Wellness Center, Mr. David Walwyn. Access to medical facilities in the French islands of Martinique and Guadeloupe is expected to be made easier for citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis and the other 8 members of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS. This following the signing of an agreement between the OECS and the General Social Security Fund of Guadeloupe, the CGSS. The 3-year Memorandum of Understanding was signed by OECS Director General Didacus Jules and the General Director of the CGSS, Henri Yakou. The agreement will address the administrative, logistical, and financial barriers that OECS member states face when accessing health services in the French departments in the Eastern Caribbean. It will also facilitate the exchange of information and capacity building in an effort to support the development of regional approaches to health services and the portability of health benefits backed by adequate health insurance. The CGSS is presently working on a plan for a pilot project with a French health insurance company that will allow for unique identification numbers and a financially and legally secure partnership with hospital establishments of Guadeloupe, Martinique, and St. Martin. Martinique became an associate member state of the OECS on February the 4th, 2015. The St. Kitts and Nevis Bureau of Standards is adding verification of meters to its list of services. SKNBS, under the Metrology Act of 2012, conducts verification of fuel pumps and supermarket scales. The addition of this new verification service is part of the Bureau of Standards mandate to protect the consumer and under the 2012 Act, where the Bureau verifies all measurement devices within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. On Monday, August the 20th, the Bureau held a one-day workshop to commission the new equipment that will aid in the verification of household electrical meters. The new equipment is an AVO phaser from Mega, is used to verify whether the meter is accurately measuring energy and accurately recording them. Maintaining a healthy workforce through movement and diet, and the slogan SKN Nation on the Move. That's the theme and slogan under which a week of activities has been organized by the Ministry of Health in St. Kitts and Nevis for Caribbean Wellness Week 2018, which begins on September the 8th, 2018. A release from the Ministry of Health states that this is part of the mission to reduce the prominent issues arising with non-communicable diseases, NCDs, in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. It says the burden of NCDs is posing a tremendous challenge to the economy, with 83% of deaths in the Federation being attributed to NCDs among persons between the 30 to 70 years of age, which is a real threat to the health of working-age adults. The Ministry of Health is focusing on promoting movement and healthy eating, which are two critical steps towards reducing the risks of NCDs to create a healthier and happier nation. Activities taking place for this year's Caribbean Wellness Week includes the Caribbean Wellness Day Walk on September the 8th from 5 a.m., faith-based health screening at local churches on September the 9th, health and family life endurance tests being spearheaded by the Ministry of Education on September the 10th. Other activities include Take 5 Nutrition Program Campaign on September the 11th, a day of rest on September the 12th, National Health and Wellness Fair on September the 13th, and the National Sneaker Day and Soccer Size Workout at the St. Kitts Marriott on September the 14th. Police here in Nevis have issued a missing person bulletin as the search continues for a man who reportedly went missing at sea on Thursday, 23rd August 2018. 69-year-old Curel Robinson is reported to have gone swimming at about 6 a.m. on Thursday and have not been seen since. A report was made to the police at about 11 a.m. on Thursday, and since then searches have been conducted by officers from the St. Kitts Nevis Coast Guard, police here in Nevis, and other persons in the waters of the Charlestown Pier, which have all been futile. Robinson was last seen in the area of the Charlestown Pier. He is said to be 5 feet 10 inches tall, light-skinned, with grey facial hair. And reports are circulating of a shooting incident which took place on St. Kitts on Friday. A video in circulation on social media shows a young man lying on a hospital bed recounting his experience after being shot on Friday morning. Police have not issued any information concerning that incident. The injured youth is reported to be from Nevis, and the VOA Newsline will bring more information as soon as it is available. And quick action by the Fire and Rescue Services prevented a fire from causing damage to nearby businesses on Central Street in Basseterre. The fire gutted the inside of the Indo-Carib shop and Sun Island Clothes outlet on Central Street, downtown Basseterre, on Saturday morning. According to reports, a passerby alerted the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services to smoke coming from the ground floor of the two-story building. Firefighters rushed to the scene after 8 o'clock and battled the blaze inside the store. An investigation is underway to determine the cause of the fire as well as financial loss. And the first phase of a household assistance program began here in Nevis today, Monday, August the 27th. The Property Elevation Program, organized by the Team Unity Administration, is intended to assist households whose income falls under $3,000 per month. The first phase is the data collection and registration process. A release from the implementing agency, the Social Services Department in the Nevis Island Administration, states some of the requirements for registration include that only one person can register per household. Other requirements are proof of address, example a utility bill, and non-nationals can register but must present proof of status in the country, that is the non-national immigration stamp in a passport. Persons must present valid identification documents before proceeding to complete registration forms. Registration takes place at different venues from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. daily. The first phase will be held over a 2-week period, August 27 to September 7, 2018. And finally, in the national segment, as part of efforts to enhance crime-fighting capabilities, officers of the St. Kitts and Nevis Defence Force, the SKNDF, are now empowered with policing powers. The Governor-General, His Excellency Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton, acting on the advice of the Cabinet, extended police powers to the Defence Force for a period of 6 months as of Friday, 24th August 2018. The proclamation by the Governor-General to grant enhanced powers to the Defence Force is in accordance with Section 7 of the St. Christopher Nevis Defence Force Act. Section 7 of the Act states, the Governor-General may, acting in accordance with the advice of Cabinet, call out the Defence Force for service in aid of the civil powers for a period not exceeding 6 months, with their arms and ammunition where it is deemed that the resources of the civil powers need to be augmented. The recommendation to the Cabinet was made following a lengthy meeting between Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, Cabinet Secretary Mrs. Josephine Huggins, Permanent Secretaries Mr. Osmond Petty and Mr. Andrew Skerritt, and the High Command of the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force and the Defence Force. According to a government release, a range of new initiatives will be implemented throughout the remainder of the year as law enforcement agencies step up their mandate to protect and serve. And that's it for the national segment. You could visit our website at www.vanradio.com, check us out on Facebook, and you can also check us out on YouTube for these and other stories. Regional news comes up next.
This summer, the Bank of Nevis Limited offers you sizzling hot vacation loans. Come and experience summer like never before with our easy-to-access summer vacation loan. Get up to $15,000 unsecured with up to 2 years to repay. Take a trip, experience the world, or participate in our very own Culturama. Enjoying your vacation has never been easier with a relaxing vacation loan from the Bank of Nevis Limited. My bank, your bank, our bank. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook.
Welcome back in news from the region. Out of Trinidad and Tobago, an agreement for the importation of cheap natural gas from Venezuela was signed on Saturday between Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago Dr. Keith Rowley and Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. The terms of agreement was between the National Gas Company, the NGC, the Venezuelan NGC, Shell, and the Venezuelan state-owned oil and natural gas company, Petróleos de Venezuela, S.A. Rowley said a pipeline carrying the gas from Venezuela's Dragon gas field in eastern Venezuela to Shell's Hibiscus platform of the North Coast will be built and owned in a joint venture between the NGC and Shell Trinidad. The estimated cost of the construction of the pipeline is over $1 billion Trinidad and Tobago dollars. During the signing, Rowley and Maduro acknowledged that the agreement had come a year and a half after they signed a memorandum of understanding for the project. The Dragon field is located within Venezuela's maritime territory, just off the north coast of Trinidad. It is close to the Hibiscus platform, jointly owned by the Trinidad and Tobago government and Shell. And out of Aruba, following the overwhelming success of the inaugural vow renewal ceremony held in 2017, Aruba touted hundreds of amorous lovebirds from across the world on the panoramic, powdery white sands of Aruba's world-famous Eagle Beach on Wednesday. A global event, couples traveled to the romantic island of Germany, Italy, Brazil, and all over the United States, eager to renew their I-do's at sunset. More than 500 guests gathered for the iconic celebration. A historical milestone for the island, the ceremony provided newlyweds and spouses with the opportunity to participate in the Caribbean's largest vow renewal ceremony for the second year in a row, exclusively in Aruba. Among the 500-plus participants were travel influencers and celebrity couples, including Lydia and Doug McLaughlin, famously known from Bravo TV's The Real Housewives of Orange County, and Ashley and Japley Rosenbaum from Season 7 of The Bachelorette. In an international context marked by uncertainty and volatility, the economies of Latin America and the Caribbean will grow 1.5% on average in 2018, thanks to a rebound in domestic demand, private consumption especially, and a slight increase in investment. The United Nations Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC, has indicated in the new annual report. According to the Economic Survey of Latin America and the Caribbean 2018, which was released in a press conference at ECLAC's sub-regional headquarters in Mexico on Thursday, overall growth in the region maintains a positive trend, despite showing signs of slowing. The projected performances among the various countries and sub-regions are mixed, with South America expected to grow 1.2% in 2018, while Central America will notch 3.4% growth and the Caribbean 1.7%. The Dominican Republic and Panama will lead the region's growth, with increases in gross domestic product (GDP) of 5.4% and 5.2% respectively, followed by Paraguay 4.4%, Bolivia 4.3%, Antigua and Barbuda 4.2%, and Chile and Honduras both with 3.9%. And the structure of Barbados Defense Force will be reviewed in the coming months to ensure that it is best placed to deal with current and emerging threats to the island's national security. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Dale Marshall says the exercise will result in a revised force structure and streamlining of ranks to ensure that the force is organized and has human resources that will be necessary to defend Barbados and to assist other agencies in the maintenance of a safe and secured environment that is conducive to national development. He added that it was government's intention to improve the Barbados Defense Force's capacity in the areas of disaster response, engineering, youth development, and maritime dominance. In addressing the military troops, Marshall said the phased, focused, and sustainable modernization of the Barbados Defense Force would improve Barbados's unified interagency national security risk mitigation efforts. And finally, in the regional segment, while 34 member states of the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO, remain measles-free, endemic transmission of the virus has now been re-established in Venezuela. To stop further spread of measles throughout the region, the director of PAHO, Carissa Etienne, has urged all countries to rapidly increase vaccination coverage. According to the PAHO director, national epidemiological surveillance and rapid response teams must be established expeditiously to manage suspected cases, prevent new cases, and halt outbreaks. She said these measures to sustain elimination were agreed to by ministers of health in 2017, and they must be renewed. In July 2017, Venezuela reported the first cases of this current measles outbreak and confirmed that this outbreak was due to a virus strain that was originally reported in Asia and later in Europe. In 2018, as of 20th August, Venezuela had reported 3,545 confirmed cases of measles, including 62 deaths. Further 10 countries in the region have reported a total of 1,459 confirmed cases and 6 deaths. And that's it for the regional segment. International news comes up next. Welcome back. And on the international front, Dutch police investigating the death of schoolboy Nicky Verstappen in 1998 say the prime suspect has been arrested in northern Spain. Jos Brich was identified as a suspect after the Netherlands' biggest ever DNA harvesting operation, which included his relatives. It gave police a vital clue linking him to DNA on Nicky Verstappen's clothes. Mr. Bresch is due to be extradited to his home country, where he faces charges of kidnapping, sexual assault, and murder. A man who forced his way on stage at a Beyonce and Jay-Z concert has been charged with disorderly conduct and simple battery. Anthony Charles Thomas Maxwell, 26, ran onto the stage in Atlanta as the couple's On the Run 2 show was ending on Saturday, 25th August. He approached Jay-Z and made contact with him, local police officer Lisa Bender told the Associated Press. Security and backup dancers managed to stop Mr. Maxwell from getting backstage. Maxwell was treated for minor injuries, and police said nobody else was injured. In the U.S. state of Georgia, the law defines simple battery as physical contact of an insulting or provoking nature. A UN report has said that top military figures in Myanmar must be investigated for genocide in Rakhine State, and crimes against humanity in other areas. The report, based on hundreds of interviews, is the strongest condemnation of the UN so far of violence against the Rohingya. The army's tactics are consistently and grossly disproportionate to actual security threats, it says. It names 6 senior military figures it believes should go on trial. Jonathan Head reports.
There have been several UN-sponsored reports on the violence last year in Rakhine State, but this is the first to accuse Myanmar's military leaders of genocide. The government had denied visas to members of the fact-finding team, but they were able to interview 875 people in other countries and they reviewed large quantities of evidence, gathered in particular from the more than 700,000 Rohingyas who fled to Bangladesh. The abuses committed by the Burmese military in Rakhine State and other parts of the country amount to the gravest crimes under international law, they concluded. They named Armed Forces Commander Min Aung Hlaing and 5 other generals as suspects who should be prosecuted. The report also condemned the failure of Aung San Suu Kyi, Myanmar's de facto leader, at least to try to stop or curb the brutal security operation against the Rohingyas. She has continued to defend the military's actions in Rakhine State and to dismiss reports of atrocities there as false or exaggerated.
And extra police have been sent to Chemnitz in eastern Germany after hundreds of far-right protesters marched through the city center and scuffles broke out. A far-right football fan group called Chaotic Chemnitz called supporters onto the streets after a German man aged 35 was fatally wounded in a fight. Police said several foreigners were involved. Jenny Hill reports.
Police officers were initially overwhelmed by around 800 demonstrators who gathered after a German man was killed in a fight. Investigators have arrested a Syrian and an Iraqi man on suspicion of manslaughter. The protesters rampaged through Chemnitz, chasing and attacking people of foreign appearance. This part of former East Germany is notorious for anti-migrant sentiment. Even so, the apparently spontaneous and xenophobic outburst has shocked the country. Angela Merkel's spokesman condemned the violence, saying there is no place in Germany for those who wish to spread hatred on the streets.
And that's it for the international segment. The latest in sports comes up next.
Splash the cash with up to $20,000 unsecured from TDC Financial Services and get a chance to win an airline ticket to any Liat destination, plus other great prizes. Have fun in the sun, get back to school ready, renovate your home, or get hurricane prepared this summer. Use your loan to secure your property and get 20% off all hurricane and home renovation materials from TDC Home and Building Depots. A loan for all purposes. Get your splash of cash with $20,000 unsecured from TDC Financial Services. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back in sports and in football. Genoa fans watched the first 43 minutes of the home match with Empoli in silence as a tribute to the 43 people killed when a motorway bridge collapsed in the Italian city earlier in August. It was the club's first home game since a 20-meter section of the Morandi Bridge suddenly fell on August the 14th. Fans had asked for a deafening silence of 43 minutes, one for each child, worker, student, father or mother, who are no longer with us today. Genoa won Sunday Serie A match 2-1. In cricket, a record-breaking bowling spell from Mohamed Irfan proved in vain as St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots chased down Barbados Tridents 147 for 6 to complete a 6-wicket Hero Caribbean Premier League CPL victory on Friday. That solitary run was scampered by Brandon King from the final delivery of Irfan's mesmerizing 4-over spell with the new ball. Despite narrowly missing out on a shootout, Irfan now possessed the most economical figures for full 4-over allocation in the history of all T20 cricket, beating the previous record of 2 runs conceded held by Shanaka Weljeredara and Chris Morris. The scores: Barbados Tridents 147 for 6, St. Kitts Nevis Patriots 148 for 4. In football in the English Premier League, Liverpool took advantage of an early season slip-up by Manchester City in a 1-1 draw at Wolves to move top of the Premier League as Mohamed Salah's winner saw off Brighton at Anfield on Saturday. At the Emirates, Arsenal ended the wait for a victory under new boss Unai Emery by coming from behind to beat West Ham 3-1. But Everton's flying start to the new era under Marco Silva stumbled as they threw away a 2-0 lead to draw 2-2 at Bournemouth and saw the $50 million record signing Richarlison sent off. City looked in ominous form to start the campaign, in cruising to victory against Arsenal at the Emirates and thrashing Huddersfield 6-1 last weekend. And we go back to some cricket news. Afghanistan beat Ireland by 29 runs at Stormont in the first match of the one-day series. Galbadin Naib made 64 and Hashmatullah Shahidi 54, but the tourists slipped from 155 for 3 to post 227 for 9 as Tom Murtaugh took 4 for 31. Ireland was bowled out for 198 despite Andrews Bilbini's 55 and 38 from Gary Wilson. The second match of the three-game series takes place in Belfast on Wednesday. And finally, in some tennis news, world number 1 Simona Halep became the first non-seeded woman to lose in the U.S. Open first round, falling to a 6-2, 6-4 defeat against Kaya Kanepi. The 26-year-old Romanian serve was broken 5 times in the first match on the new Louis Armstrong Stadium. She fought back from a double break down to 4-4 in the second set, but the Estonian broke again before Halep sent a forehand long on match point. Halep also lost the opening match at Flushing Meadows last year. The French Open champion was beaten by Maria Sharapova in New York in 2017. And that's it for sports. The weather is next. And the weather tonight, partly cloudy with a 50% and moderate chance for showers, mainly before midnight. The winds east at 10 to 16 knots with high gusts over open waters. The sea is moderate with swells not exceeding 1.5 meters or 5 feet. And sunrise tomorrow is at 4 minutes before 6 o'clock. That was the latest weather, and to end the VON's major news package, a look at our headlines once again. Nationally, the Federal Integrity Commission appointed, and Monday, September 3rd, 2018, the National Day of Prayer and Fasting here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela signed a gas agreement. Internationally, UN says Myanmar military leaders must face Rohingya genocide charges. And in sports, Genoa fans silent for first 43 minutes of home match as tribute to Italy bridge collapse victims. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I'm Marcellus Lee, wishing you a pleasant evening.